Welcome back to Rocket Talk. It is episode 36, and shaking things up for a little bit, Connor has to take a couple weeks off. He said to keep his family in his thoughts and prayers. No one died. He just wanted to say that. But yeah, Connor has some other matters he has to take care of for the next couple weeks, so he will not be on here. And that also means that Moving in Stereo's first official episode will be late a couple weeks. But to help fill that in, we brought in Corrie back. So anyone who listened to the Father's Day episode will remember her. She is back, and so she'll be with us the next couple weeks. So welcome back, Corrie.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, this time I gotta be with you because I was gone when you were on last time. So now Connor is the one that's out. So
who needs Connor?
Yeah, true. Connor sucks brigade. Let's go. So, but before we jump into the first nerd news now topic, let's do the bev check we've been doing. So Johhny, do you have a beverage this week?
I sure do. I stopped by Starbucks again, but this time I figured, why not get a cold drink on a cold day? And so I got a caramel frappuccino from Starbucks.
Ooh, tasty. Very tasty. Have you ever gotten the vanilla bean frappuccino and hadn't put raspberry in it, so it's the cotton candy frappuccino?
I have not, but that
you
sounds
should do
good.
That.
I am holding out for the peppermint frappuccino or peppermint hot coffee mocha, because I am all about Christmas, as you guys know, and my favorite time of the year is coming up.
Hey, Johhny, yeah, a week from today, the day of recording, is the first day of Christmas, November 1st.
That's true. November 1st, the first day of Christmas. So
yes.
Excited.
Perfect. So, yeah, I am drinking a Ocean Spray cranberry watermelon juice. So I still don't have any beer right now. Probably next weekend is when I'll get some again, but just to save a little bit of money, because 6-packs can be $6, $7, $8, $9 and more. So saving a little bit of money right now since, the PS5 is about to make a dent in my wallet. So
yeah, pretty dent.
Yep, a nice $540 after taxes dent. So
well, hey, just keep eating Burger King, and then you'll have a better chance of getting one for free.
True. I have gone to BK a couple times, and I have not won a single thing yet. I'm mad. Like, at least let me get a free fry or something. But oh well.
What about you? Next time you go, you'll win a PS5.
Hopefully. Corrie, do you have a drink then for us, or did you not get the memo?
I did not get the memo, but I do have a lovely coffee mug here on my desk.
There we go.
My former friend got it for me while they were in Germany, so it has a turtle on its back. And German, it says, I'd rather have the problem if it's bigger than the solution.
Oh, that's a nice one there. And nothing says Germany like turtles, obviously.
Yeah.
But
it's on its back.
Oh, that is wonderful. All right, so let's move on into nerd news now. We got some interesting ones this week. Our first one is NASA is giving Nokia $14 million to build a 4G network on the moon. So in our episode notes, I put insert Ryan Reynolds but why gif here, just because it's just like, why? This is such a weird story, but it was definitely one that we had to talk about before Connor had to let us know to take his break. He mentioned this too, how he wanted to talk about it. So what are your guys' thoughts on this just weird thing going on?
I don't understand why they want to do this. I really don't.
I think people are realizing that we're taking advantage of all of Earth's resources, and we're going to need to relocate. And so this is just the first step towards being able to build a new society on the moon. There
you go. Yeah, that's true. It's just funny because Connor added in the notes, he said, we can't afford, in quotes, to give rural areas decent signal from new towers, but we have plenty of money for a 4G network on the moon. Like,
right.
That just shows just how goofy this world can be. Yeah, because I remember when I used to drive either to home or from home from Maryville, when I'd get off of Highway 71 and get on J64 to go up to Hamburg, Iowa, I would have no service that entire 45 minutes I was on that road. And so I would barely have cell service, and I would not have any internet at all. So if I needed to, if I would have broke down, it would have been hard for me to find. Luckily, I like sort of knew that area towards the end, so I could probably describe roughly where I was. But yeah, it was definitely like it was a lot harder to do that, or chunks of the move to Atlanta, same thing. There would be chunks where I'd have no service. So, but hey, internet on the moon. So if we ever go to the moon, we can have LTE. I don't even get LTE like in my apartment complex. So
yeah, who needs service in the rural areas when we've got it,
on the moon. So
yeah,
definitely was more of a fun one. But yeah, I just can't believe this one. It's part of their NASCAR tipping point competition that was first ported by Mashable. So 14.1 million was awarded to Nokia so that they can help build a cellular network on the moon. And they gave their PR BS with it, just saying that it's inspired by technology, going to develop the first LTE communication system in space, and just like, of course this happens too. Also, right as we're starting to transition into 5G internet, so now we can put 4G on the moon. They're behind. It's like how the Midwest kind of lags behind in fashion. They're lagging behind in technology, so
Yeah, but hey, if it's Nokia doing it, it's gonna be indestructible.
That's true. Yeah, there'll be a meteor could hit it and it'll still run.
There is a Nokia phone in the road, like right by my mom's house, is caved into the road, and I've seen that thing turn on.
I believe it. I mean, you could chuck those things, like you could be atop Mount Everest, chuck it down the mountain, and it would survive. Yeah. Meanwhile, now you drop an iPhone and it shatters from falling out of your pocket.
Carpet.
Yeah. So definitely more of a goofy one. Moving on to the second Nerd News Now topic, one that will I think upset a lot of people. The Peanuts classics cartoons that we always the holiday specials, the Thanksgiving, the Christmas. There's other ones too, but the Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Halloween are the ones that people know and love the most. They will not be on network television for the first time ever. This will be the first time since 1965 that we will not see a holiday special starring the Peanuts characters on ABC or CBS or anything like that. So they are going to be on Apple TV Plus. So Apple, they've already been doing a lot with Peanuts worldwide, with the Snoopy show that picked up some Emmy awards, and they're just kind of the new home for Peanuts. So with this now, we're not going to see it on ABC this year like we've seen in the past. The one caveat though is they will be available for free, so you won't need it Apple TV Plus to watch it. So It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown will be available. It was added to Apple TV Plus on the 19th, but it's available for free October 30th, Halloween, and November 1st. Thanksgiving one will be available free November 25th through the 27th, and the Charlie Brown Christmas will be available the 11th through the 13th, with them launching about a week or two earlier on the Apple TV Plus platform for those who have the subscription. So, I think that's one when it's getting shared on social media that people don't realize right away. They're more seeing the headline of it's not going to be on TV, it's only on Apple TV, but it's still kind of a big deal. I mean, this is one of those things that it's like if they took Christmas Story off of TBS playing 24 hours a day at Christmas time. This is just not something that happens. So this is kind of a weird one. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
There are very few things that Hollywood needs to leave alone, and I feel like Peanuts is one of them. So Peanuts doesn't need remaking, and it needs to stay on television. I feel like that's just one thing that shouldn't have been messed with. This is a Jumanji-like thing. Stop. Yeah,
I agree. It's huge. Luckily, like I said, luckily you still can watch it without it, but people don't know that. Like I said, you're seeing a lot of people sharing this on Facebook, and they're more just sharing it because of the headlines, because that people just they don't look into it. And I mean, there's, as much as I like to make fun of them, there are still people in Maryville, for example. There are people in Maryville that don't have internet. It's crazy in 2020 they don't have internet, but all the olds there, they don't use it. I remember when I worked at Hy-Vee trying to get people to sign up for a fuel saver card, it would always get I don't have a computer, and it's just how. So they don't they don't have that. They probably don't have internet. They don't have Apple TV, so they can't do their yearly tradition of watching that. It's wild.
Well,
Johnny,
they
what
may
about you?
not- Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Corey.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they
I mean-
have the VHS.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true too.
I think, I mean, it's kind of like what you said about not having technology. I was just going to say that they're easy to find on YouTube, but if you don't have internet access, of course, that's not really going to help much. But I don't know. I mean, like, I do have sympathy for the people who are not able to watch it, but at the same time, the world is changing, and it's kind of, it's not a world where you need internet, but it is a world where internet is a luxury, and the Peanuts classics is not a necessity. Sorry, I'm stuttering. It's not a necessity. It's a luxury to be able to watch that every year. So for it to be online, it's sad that people are going to miss out. I was never like a huge fan of the Peanuts, but it's sad for the people who were and are going to be missing out, or think that they're going to be missing out. But yeah, I mean, if it's online, it's a good marketing move, and I think that's great. People will still have access to it. More people will have access to it than realize. But yeah, it's just we're in 2020 and everything's falling apart except the internet. So
True. Well, and like you said too, like the other one too is if people don't realize that it's free. Oh well, I'm gonna go subscribe to Apple TV Plus for a couple months, and so they'll pay Apple $10 to have it from now until Christmas. And then Apple TV makes $10, and if 1 million people do that, bam, there's a ton of money right there. And and like we see it, more and more people cut the cord each year with cable and satellite. I mean, Abby and I, we don't have it. We have we pay for Amazon, so we get Prime Video through there, and then my parents have Netflix. We use Abby's sister's Hulu that she gets through her Spotify student discount. I use Connor's HBO Max, and let's see what other ones. And then we have NFL Sunday Ticket, and then we have a antenna hooked up to the TV, so we can pick up ABC and CBS and all that. But yeah, we don't have cable.
I was watching I watch a YouTuber named Drew Gooden, and he makes a lot of fun of people online, but he also does some real world like how does this apply kind of videos, and he did a video about how TV is one of the most expensive ways to, like, old traditional TV from 10-15 years ago, which is like just watching television, is now in 2020 one of the most expensive ways to consume content. Whereas Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and all the streaming services are the future, and honestly, they're the present, and they've been the present for the past 5 years. So it's really we've come to a time where buying or expecting things to be on television and not on streaming services is a thing of the past, and the prices are definitely a good example of that, because it is so pricey to watch TV on a traditional television.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive just to do all the streaming stuff. Yeah, then you throw in the fact that you're still saving. You could get every single streaming package, like having Hulu and Netflix and HBO Max and Apple TV Plus and Peacock and have all of these, and it's still cheaper than some of these packages with DirecTV. And just like thoughts like that is insane. Like, because you can end up spending, $150, $200 a month on just cable. And then you throw in the fact that you need to spend another 30, 40, 50 bucks plus on internet. And it just adds from there. This was a long time coming, I feel like, too. It is crazy that this was one of the first of those dominoes to fall, because I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more of these things that eventually do leave network television even more. But another one, too, is that in today's streaming world, outside of sports and then a few shows that really still have it, like reality shows like The Bachelor, we don't really see, like, there's not a need for live television shows anymore. Like watching the show, like watching NCIS when it's on at 8 o'clock on CBS. It's now watching it on the DVR, watching it on Hulu the next day. Like regular TV as it was 10, 15 years ago is not the same anymore. Like outside of sports, and then a few things like The Bachelor, Game of Thrones when it was on, Walking Dead are some of those that they still have the following that watch it the second it's live, but we don't really see any more of the people.
Corey, did you have something?
I was just gonna say, certain TVs, like I know my TV, you don't even have to have cable, but you can still watch like cable television on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have those free channels. Yeah, mine has that too.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that, and like speaking of like reality TV shows and stuff, Netflix, Hulu, other streaming services have also done their own things like that. So like Love is Blind, that was really popular on Netflix, which is basically kind of like The Bachelor, kind of not. I don't know, I've never watched The Bachelor. But they are, adapting, which I'm not surprised.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those, I think more just now when you realize, oh, okay, like this happened, but it's, it's one of those, it's not as surprising. But speaking of Love is Blind, Jessica can burn in hell. Jessica sucks. She does. Out of Jessica from Love is Blind.
Oh. I don't watch it, so but
she sucked. There out of all the couples that made it out of the pods, she's the worst.
Yeah.
By far.
There's one couple that sticks together and they're on TikTok together and it's so cute.
Yeah. Yeah,
you can't watch that on regular live television, so another reason why streaming services are the way to go.
True. But let's move on then into our next one then. So Jared Leto will be playing the Joker again in Zack Snyder's Justice League. So in the reshoots that's been happening, Leto has come back and he is going to reprise his role as the Joker from Suicide Squad. So Johhny, as the DC fanboy, what are your thoughts on the one of the most disliked Joker portrayals coming back?
I'm conflicted because like you said, I'm a huge DC fan, and I was not like a lot of other people. I was not crazy about Jared Leto's portrayal of the Joker. I won't say he did a bad job. I don't think he was great, but I definitely don't think he was how I envisioned the Joker. But so like I'm a little disappointed that like that version is the version that we've gotten and we will be getting. But on the good side of it, I've seen I was worried that because of the bad reception that he was just going to be erased completely. Like he wasn't even in the Harley Quinn movie. He was just mentioned a lot. And so I was worried that the Joker was just going to be completely erased from the cinematic universe. But if he's back, I'm kind of happy about that because it means that we get to see more Joker and maybe we can see kind of an evolution, or maybe they can scale it down to maybe trim the edges a little bit so it's less of a so it gets less of a negative response and it's more in the right direction of what we're looking for. I'm glad he's there. Overall, I'm more happy than not that he's coming back because it means that they're actually sticking with the plans that they've made. Because recently, in the past few years, they've done a lot of things that have just kind of either been one-offs or forgotten about, or like even the Batman, the Batman movie starring Robert Pattinson is not in the same universe, but that wasn't clear right away, and so a lot of people weren't sure what the deal with that was. And so I'm glad that they're going to bring the Joker back, Jared Leto as the Joker, because hopefully that means that they do have a plan going forward with the Joker and with other villains. But who knows? I mean, Marvel kind of was very cookie cutter with how they did a lot of stuff, and don't get me wrong, Infinity War was fantastic, but all the other movies that they've done are very cookie cutter. But DC is just kind of like Pandora's box, right now, where it's just there's no and I just want something in the middle where it's yes, there can be excitement, but there also needs to be some consistency. And DC is just there's nothing organized about that whatsoever. So hopefully that Joker coming back means that they're going to be a little bit more organized, but who knows?
Yeah, well, I mean, just to show just how unorganized they are, how we have Suicide Squad, and then we're gonna have the Suicide Squad, right, as a sequel successor, but it's not like it's how it's going to be different from the 2016 movie, but it's set in the same universe and has some of the same, like, there's so many weird things with that it's just I get calling Suicide Squad 2 to be different, but call it something like Suicide Squad and then give it some sort of subtitle, like Suicide Squad rebooted or like reloaded, like something where then it can give it away that it is a sequel, but also not like separate from the original, not because I mean it is kind of a soft reboot, but yeah, I think it is good that
2 Squad.
There you go. That's a good one. Yeah, I don't know. I like you said too. I think it's good that they're bringing the Joker back because I mean, one, the Joker is such a important character for the DC universe, just as a whole. Like what he has meant through the comics and the movies and the TV shows. So like having him back is a big thing, even if the portrayal by Jared Leto isn't as well liked as people would have liked. I mean, it's also hard having to follow up. I mean, that's the first time we saw the Joker in a live action film since Heath Ledger. So no matter what, like the fact that you have to follow up like a portrayal that got a superhero movie a Academy Award nomination for Best Picture and like he won Best Supporting Actor, like it's a pretty big shoes to fill, and you know I don't know many actors that could have followed that up well, but we'll see. Yeah, maybe a better direction as a whole, even if they still want to go out there, but have a plan for moving forward. It can help make this Joker at least a liked Joker, not even have to be well liked, just liked enough that people can tolerate it.
Yeah. I saw the Harley Quinn movie. I reviewed it earlier this year when it came out. And
back when movies came out. Whoa.
Yeah, I miss movie theaters so much. But yeah, the Harley Quinn movie I thought was really good, and I actually saw it about a month or two ago again, and I rewatched it, and I liked it a lot. I don't think it was anything perfect, but I think it was it did a lot of things right that Suicide Squad 1 did not do right at all, especially with Harley Quinn. A lot of people found her annoying, and I mean, yeah, but that was kind of the whole point, you know. And I thought she was great, and I thought that she shined a lot more in her own movie. And so I'm hoping that was a good example of what the Suicide Squad movie can be, with them giving characters more development and giving them more personality, and not just being, oh yeah, we're bad guys, but we're not bad because we're human and we have real feelings. But
luckily, I think having James Gunn at the helm for the Suicide Squad will help, because you know, like Guardians were kind of the same thing. They're kind of like a ragtag. They're kind of heroes, but they kind of aren't, and they had some more villainous aspects to them, more in the first movie, you know. And while I didn't like 2 as much as 1, like 2 I think is okay, but it's one of my least favorites of Phase 3. It's still a good movie, and so having him at the helm for that will help a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, true. What about you, Corey? What are you feeling about Leto being back?
I'll be honest, I never watched Suicide Squad, so I never really got a good look at him being the Joker.
Consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
But I do think, you know, there are criticisms to be had of his Joker, but also there does need to be a little grace. He's following a literal legend. Everyone knows Heath Ledger as the Joker. He's one of the most iconic. So there's always going to be an unfair comparison to whoever went after him. So I feel like this is just okay, we've introduced him, you know, we kind of gauged how people didn't really like it. Hopefully this just kind of takes it in a new direction where it's a little more palatable, I suppose. Yeah,
for sure. So, well, I mean, if all goes as planned, we will be getting the Suicide Squad. You know, next year we'll be getting the Justice League, the Zack Snyder Justice League next year as well. So, well, we can hopefully see the improvements to continue to push 2016 Suicide Squad further and further away, and do that. So now we can move on into our last Nerd News Now topic of the week. So AOC did a Twitch stream this past week, and actually after the stream, it is now the third most successful individual stream of all time on Twitch. So the U.S. representative played Among Us, and encourage those to who can't go out to go vote early for the election, all that. So she started it on October 20th at about 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and at its peak, it peaked with about 430,000 viewers. So it's only behind Ninja's Fortnite stream with Drake that reached 600,000 views. And then Shroud's return to Twitch, which brought about 500,000 at its peak when Shroud came back after Mixer closed down, which we talked about a little bit when that was announced a few months ago. So, one, it's crazy that also this was her first stream on there, but this was more kind of a fun one, like the fact that we saw a politician playing Among Us, like not something I ever thought I would ever say, even with someone like AOC's track record, but it's crazy to say that we got to see a politician playing video games with fans on Twitch, and 500,000 people almost were watching it. So what are your guys' thoughts in on this? Did either of you check it out or not?
I didn't check it out, but the reason I was so excited to talk about this was Corp's husband was also a part of this. So if anyone's been on TikTok recently, the song "E-Girls Are Ruining My Life," that's Corp's husband, and that got AOC flustered because Corp's husband is known for having a very deep voice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was really excited about. I was like, oh man, like kind of getting into this guy. He's a YouTuber, which was just a really cool thing to learn about.
Yeah, true.
W. Ryan thing.
Yeah, because there was a lot, just like the Ninja stream with Drake and Juju Smith-Schuster and others. So you had some other politicians. You had Pokimane, you had Dr. Lupo, you had Disguised Toast. There's a bunch of like big names from just different areas. We had primarily other big streamers with them, but like we had a lot of big names on this, and it's just another crazy thing that's happened in 2020 with everything that's gone on. So, Johhny, what about you?
I thought this was insane. I love this. I haven't watched it myself yet, but I think this is a brilliant move. I do think that there's a little bit of irony. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm going to go with irony that a politician is playing Among Us. I'm just going to leave that there. But I don't. Regardless of anybody's political stances, I think that it's kind of funny that a politician, regardless of their stance, is playing this particular game. So I think this is great. I definitely also encourage people to go vote. I wish I could get as many viewers as she
Seriously,
could get.
Man, I wish I could get 500,000 viewers on my first stream.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think this is great. I love this move. I think that it's not like she's not known to be a streamer, so it's not like this is for you can't really call this a publicity stunt because it's not like anybody doesn't already know who she is, or you wouldn't go watch it if you didn't know who she was. So I think that it has the Johhny stamp of approval from me.
Yeah, hopefully we see more of this. We've seen Bernie be on Twitch on the just chatting side of things for some fireside chat type of thing, and we've seen a few others do this. I mean, I know I can't remember which branch of the military. One of the military branches, they have they do streaming where they do some gaming, and they actually got in trouble because they're trying to recruit people to join the armed forces with it, and that got into a big debate there. But that's a thing. That's a whole other story. But yeah, like we've seen it a little bit with stuff with people in our government do it, and so I mean it's a smart move. People love watching streams. Like it's not my cup of tea, but I can see like if I'm someone like AOC, if I'm a politician, I easily jump on this. It's the same thing why like if I was a politician, I would be on TikTok because that's what a lot of the younger people are on. And so while they may have an audience that can't vote right now, you get them now, and then you can expose them. It does run into a debate of exposing politics to younger people and what that can mean. But you can reach a new audience that you wouldn't be able to reach before if you didn't go on Twitch, you didn't go on TikTok. If you just stick to your TV ads and your YouTube ads and word of mouth and all that. So it's a brilliant move.
Absolutely.
So 3 weeks in a row, we have another blast off or blow up actually now too, as we move on from Nerd News Now. So Johhny has been playing with Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. My bad. Luigi Kart Live Home Circuit, I should say, as Johhny did get the Luigi version because who plays as Mario in Mario Kart willingly?
Yeah, exactly.
So go ahead, Johhny. Tell us how you're feeling about the game so far, and all that.
Well, first of all, like you said, I definitely think that if you got the Mario set over the Luigi set and you had both options, what are you doing? First of all, what are you doing? And overall, I think it's a great game. I think that, so how it works, for those of you who don't know, is it is a downloadable game. It is technically free. It is a free downloadable game on the Nintendo eShop, but you need the $100 cart that goes with it. And you can get Mario or Luigi, a Mario or Luigi cart. Hopefully there's more characters in the future, but for right now it's just those two. Along with the box, you also get a charging cable to charge your cart, a set of 4 gates that are used to make the tracks, and arrow markers made of cardboard as well that are just arrow markers in the real world, but on the screen are glowing and lit up and show like the arrows are actually moving. So it's a cool AR feature. What you do is you set the tracks 1, 2, 3, 4, however you want, and then Lakitu paints your tires, and you drive in any order. Well, you have to drive in the order of the 1, 2, 3, 4 gates, but between each gate you can go and make curves however you want, and you then go through the 4th gate and end where you started. And so that way it's one lap, and you create the lap in a real world in your home. And then you play on the Switch, and you can watch the TV or have it in handheld mode, and you are playing inside your house with an actual car that's driving around your house. Dogs love it, cats hate it, but as for humans, it's a good novelty, and I enjoyed it. I had some problems with dust and dirt on my
I've heard that's been a big
cart.
issue, is that after a bit, if you have a pretty dusty or dirty playing environment, then it'll mess up. It'll be one that you want to clean it every once in a while. That was a big one on IGN's review video of it, is that the lady who reviewed it said that she had to take it apart and clean all the dust and dirt out from the tires.
My mom has a what do you call it, those round machines that
a Roomba?
On the floor. Roomba, yes. My mom has a Roomba, and she uses it every day, and it's still got dusty and dirty after about an hour or 2 hours of playing. It wasn't too bad, but like for me, I'm looking at my pristine Luigi cart when I opened it, and then I see it that's just, even if it's just a speck of dirt, I'm just like, no, it can't be there.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be perfect. But I didn't play it enough where it's become an issue. I haven't noticed, personally, I haven't noticed any difficulty turning with the dirt and hair in it. It hasn't been a problem for me yet, but like you said, Luke, it has for some other people. I have only played single player, and so my mom and my sister have both seen me play it, and they both thought it was really cool. I think it's really cool. I haven't played it with other people, and so I can't necessarily say how much fun that is, though it looks like that's kind of like the best thing, is being able to play it with one or more friends would be the best way to play it. So that is something that I can't give a full review on that necessarily, but as far as the single player mode, it's tough. I don't think that it's worth $100, to be honest. I think that it. I was really excited about it, and I'm a little disappointed. I think that it's a lot of fun, and I hope that they make more characters so that more people are more likely to play it. So multiplayer for me is a more likely possibility. But I just don't think that it hit the mark as well as I was hoping. And so if it's only blast off or blow up, I'm going to have to say it's probably a blow up.
You could do kind of a both, like I did with Steve last week. It blasts off, but then it blows up after takeoff. So kind of like the Challenger, where it's
possibly somewhere in the middle. Then, because I think that it has a lot of potential, but I think that there was. I'm not exactly sure what else they could have done. I just feel like this wasn't. I'm not going to say that like, oh, it's not Mario Kart 9, so it can't be good. But I appreciate the attempts that Nintendo made. I just think that there were some things that just made it not as good as it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd say it's somewhere in the middle of blast off and blow up.
Okay, before we move on, I had a couple questions for you then. So,
sure.
How long does it take to make a track then? Like, obviously, you can, if you want to make a more elaborate one, it takes time, but roughly how long has it taken you to make the tracks you've made?
Are you including, like, the actual physically moving the gates and all that, or just
so from when everything from making a track, so from setting it up, painting the track with Lacto, and to starting your first race?
I would say it takes a minute. If you've already got your gates next to you.
No, I'm saying everything with setup.
Right. Right. If you've got your gates like next to you, like and you just need to put them in the right spot, and then you drive around, it takes a minute.
Okay.
Obviously,
more elaborate tracks will take longer for you to plan it out. But if you have all your obstacles ready to go, it only takes a few minutes to get set up. So that's good to know then too, because
I think not even a few minutes, just like I think 60 seconds is really all it takes, because laps. This might be because my mom's internet is not the best, so I had to make smaller laps. So it only took me roughly a minute to set up all the gates and then drive through all the gates and get the race started. It took me about 60 seconds. So,
did you have any other like obstacles? Like, did you put like empty pop cans or anything like that? Like,
no, I used for one of my races. I was going too far out of the area where it was like being able to connect properly, but I was using the pillars in the house that were just standing the house up to drive around those, and I just kind of did a little loop around one of the pillars, and I drove. My mom has really thick carpets, and there was a lot of talk about how it's fine with carpets, but I was doing 150cc, and I drove onto the carpet, and Luigi flew. Yeah, he was flying, and I was. He even does this thing where like he holds onto his hat because he's like moving so fast, and so every time I would get a mushroom, I would wait until right before I get onto the carpet, and then I would use the mushroom, and it would go forward, and he would go like a foot, and
that's amazing.
It was some parts like that are like you can't get stuff like that from traditional Mario Kart, and so those are the moments that definitely made it
at least kind of worth money.
Kind of more worth the money, yeah. But then it was just technical limitations, I think, that made it just a little less. I think if they started selling this for $85 or maybe $90, I would say that it's probably a little bit more worth it. Because you're not like you have to use the gates to play, but they are just cardboard. And then I'm sure that the carts themselves are, very like intrinsic, and they're very like specific way. They need to be made a specific way to communicate with the Switch, and they have rubber in the front so it can resist a little bit of shock. And
because it has to have. Well, you have to have a camera in there, so it has to have some sort of camera. And it, like from watching footage online, it looks like it's a decent enough webcam in it. So you have to have. It probably has a So when you throw in all that plus the technology to communicate back and forth with the Switch.
I just think if they cut it down by $10 or $15, that might be kind of the perfect price for it. Because you are getting more out of it than a traditional game of any kind. So, if it's going to be more than $60, which is a price for any video game, that's fair. But I don't think it needs to be all the way up to $100.
Okay. A couple quick ones. So, how would you say the driving mechanics compare in the game compared to Mario Kart 8 or some of the other entries, does it feel like Mario Kart, or is it? If it does, how close does it feel like it, or does it feel completely different?
It feels. I've played Mario Kart a lot, and so Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I don't think it's possible to feel as good as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe feels. But they did a really good job of making it closer than you might think. I would say it's about 90% to 95% similarity with the feel of the moving the track.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely turns a lot better than I expected it to. Like, it can turn on a dime, which is really cool. Like, I can just I run up to like my dog, and then I can just zip in the opposite direction. It's really it turns really well. And the speed, 200cc is fun. 200cc with 3 mushrooms or a golden mushroom is insane.
Is it just like Mario Kart 8, where it's just so uncontrollable?
Oh my god, yeah. It's like I showed my family the 50cc, and I was like, this is the slow mode. And then they're like, wow, it still moves pretty fast. And I was like, oh, that's the slowest one. I turned it all the way up to 200, and they were like, oh geez, like it was running people over, and it was like, it can be a lot of fun.
Nice. So I know with they have the different track layouts where you could have you're in your house, it can be a Rainbow Road, or it can be a desert track and all that. Are there what's your favorite out of all of those little level themes?
Let's see. I can tell you what my least favorite are first.
Okay. Do that.
My least favorite are the desert winds and the Kamek there's one where there's desert winds, and so it keeps pushing you to the right or to the left, and so the cart just keeps moving one way or the other, and you have to fight against it. And it looks like when you're watching the cart in the real world, it looks like you're just making zigzags, like you're drunk driving. And Luigi's had too many, I think. And that's one that I really hate, because it's just if it's in a Mario Kart, traditional Mario Kart game, it's fun and it's challenging. But when you're potentially running into table legs or the chair, and you could ruin your cart because the desert winds are moving you into the stuff, it's not a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's really frustrating that
I want to break your $100 go-kart.
Yeah, I could break my cart from the game's mechanics. Another one is Kamek, who's a Magic Koopa. He reverses the track, so everything on the screen is reversed. And so if you would have had to turn left in the real world, it makes it look so you have to turn right, and then you can use your control stick right, so what you're seeing matches the way you need to go, and that's good. But turning right in the game turns it left, because that's how it looks. It's hard to explain.
So if you were watching it, if you're watching the physical cart, it would throw you off because it's going the opposite direction. Yeah. And
it does it it seems to do it every lap and half lap. So at the gates 1 and 3, it does it switches it and then switches it back. And I have to wait for 2 or 3 seconds between that gap where it's going to turn, so I can adjust properly, or else I'm going to again run into my own furniture and potentially break my cart. And so that was really frustrating as well. And the gates themselves in some levels also had their own mechanics. There's one that is a magnet, and it whenever you get close to a gate, it rushes you forward, attracts you to the gate a lot.
Yeah, so
quicker.
you can adjust those. You can make you can put a Koopa there, or or
but for the Grand Prix, you can make your own custom tracks and make them however you want. But for the Grand Prix, some of them are magnets, and they have to be that for that race. And for that one, for the ones that have that magnet, it's again a problem of forcing your cart to do something you're not prepared for it to do, and it's pulling you forward without you ready to do that. And then I kept running into the legs of the chair, and which is fun and funny the first 1 or 2 times, but when you've done it 10 times and you start to really worry about any scratches or breaks of the cart that I spent $100 on, it gets concerning. So
yeah.
And then the last one is with the customization and stuff like that's on there. Are there any of those things? Would you like to see that customization come over to Mario Kart 9 or any other mechanics that's in this game that isn't in regular Mario Karts to come to a new game in the series?
I definitely think that costumes are a great idea. I love the pirate aesthetic for pretty much anything, and so I got to be a pirate Luigi in a pirate ship, and I was all about that. Also, unrelated, but whenever he gets first place, Luigi says, "Oh yeah, can't stop Ouija," and I think that is the best thing.
Oh my goodness, that is funny.
But yeah, I think that costumes are definitely a good thing that should definitely be added. And let's see, I think that there should be. I think that if they had, like, if you can't make your own track in the future games, having those gates that you have to cross and then having those special elements to the gates is something that could pretty much be applied to any race. You just have to add those gates in at designated points that you can decide. But yeah, I think that the gates, the gate features, and the costumes are some really good things that have never been a part of Mario Kart that should be going forward.
Yeah, nice.
The costumes are in Mario Kart Tour on the phone, but nobody plays Mario Kart Tour.
Well, they're actually, those are separate characters though too, technically. Like, because I haven't played that a lot.
Yeah, that's true. But that's because microtransactions.
True. But yeah, because it'll be ones like, yeah, you have, because I've been playing a lot of that recently, so I can use Sunshine Mario, so he has his like Hawaiian shirt and his sunglasses on instead of regular Mario. And all that. Or I just unlocked Gold King Boo. So he's a gold-plated King Boo instead of regular or Luigi's Mansion King Boo. So, yeah, I don't know why they don't have... Like, I hope that costumes is a thing that comes to the next Mario Kart, because Crash Team Racing had it as well, and that's been a ton of fun to be able to, like, mess around and have a pirate Luigi or have a bunch of other goofy stuff like that. So... Awesome. Let's move on then now into the topic of the week. So, continuing it with another thing on more of the fun, spoopy side of things with Halloween coming up this Saturday. So, we thought it'd be fun to do our favorite conspiracy theories. So there's a lot of them out there. Like obviously, like some are more believable than others. Things like no matter how he was killed, JFK's death is a conspiracy. Like someone killed him for some reason, but it wasn't a normal thing. Like, it wasn't just Lee Harvey Oswald. Like that's, I think, kind of a fact now. And also, birds aren't real. I mean, when the government shut down, did you see any birds? No. Exactly. So, besides that, it'd be some fun conspiracies to go over. So I will start it off this week with mine, and mine is the Rugrats theory. So this is a really, really weird one out there that. I want to say my older brother told it to me a few years ago that he found it on StumbleUpon, and so it's so silly. So basically, the TLDR Rugrats theory can be summed up to: the Rugrats are a figment of Angelica's imagination. So and because she is a small child, it gives reasons why all these things happen, and so basically, Angelica created all the babies to help because her life sucked. So Angelica's mom in this theory was a drug addict and died of an overdose just after she was born. And so Drew, her father, after the depression of losing his wife from a heroin overdose, marries a gold digging whore, as it says in the copy pasta wiki page, that Angelica idolized because she fooled herself to thinking it was her real mom. But she always had a concept of her mom as Cynthia, which is her doll that is made after the likeness of her mom's image, wearing an unwashed orange dress, having messed up hair, and so that's why she's attached to it. So Charlotte is actually her stepmom who doesn't give her proper love and all that. So the other babies, then here's where all they come from. So Chucky died in 1986 along with his mother in a car crash. That's why Chaz is always a nervous wreck all the time in the show. Tommy was a stillborn, so that is why that's why he's bald, where all the other babies have some hair. And that's why that's why Stu is always in the basement, because he's making toys for the son who he never had a chance to live. Phil and Lil are the result of an abortion, because the DeVilles had one abortion, and so Angelica can't understand the concept of abortion fully. She doesn't understand, so she couldn't tell if it was a boy or a girl. Therefore, she made twins. Kira, who Chaz marries in Rugrats in Paris, who had the daughter Kimmy, that one, on a trip to Paris to find love, Chaz marries Kira, he was actually going to marry Coco, but she only wanted him for his money. But he married Kira, but because Kira had a cocaine addiction and was a sex worker, she lost Kimmy, and so Kimmy was torn apart, and so then Angelica imagines from Kira's stories. And so that's where that happens. And then, so you have all that. The only babies besides Angelica who are real are Susie and Dill. So Susie is Angelica's only friend, and she's entertained by Angelica's creations. And then Dill was born and actually was there, but due to Angelica not being able to tell the difference between Dill and her creations, after Dill didn't follow one of her commands and Concy cried, Angelica hit him and caused him to have a brain hemorrhage and a deformation, which is to explain why he is so weird and all grown up and is kind of living as an outcast, because he has a mental disability from it. And so then what it's supposed to be is, after all this, all grown up, when it gets canceled, it's because at that point is when Angelica follows in her mom's footsteps and dies of a drug overdose at age 13. And so Susie, being Angelica's only friend and was there for her for the entire time, took the idea of the stories of Rugrats after she became a psychologist, teamed up with Nickelodeon to make the show, and then All Grown Up. So it's a wild one out there, and it's definitely, someone was just like, how can I make this? And it spiraled out there. But this definitely is not true, but it is a fun conspiracy theory to look at, more just because of just how out there it is.
It definitely lends. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
It lends to the building blocks of the whole Phineas and Ferb conspiracy theory that Candace, she didn't have these brothers, but she wrote all this down in her diary because she had schizophrenia or something, and then it got sold to Disney. I don't know if you guys have heard that story, but you can definitely trace its roots back to this Rugrats one.
Yeah, there's a bunch of these out there you can find. There, I know there's one for Barney. I've seen SpongeBob. So yeah, there's you can find a conspiracy theory for just Ed and Eddie's another one that has one that all the kids, it's actually purgatory. And so that's why all the kids, that's why Rolf doesn't seem to fit in with, because since he's a foreign farm kid living in a cul-de-sac, it's just this doesn't seem right. And so it's supposed to be all the kids are ones that died at different time periods, and they're in purgatory together. So there's a bunch of weird ones like that.
Well, this one about the Rugrats is I appreciate that it's very thought out, and whoever made it obviously has a dark mind, but a lot of it makes a lot of sense, and I always like to entertain the idea that it could be real. So if you ever rewatch a Rugrats episode, rewatch it with all of this, with this conspiracy theory in mind, and see how well it applies, because it could be it could be a lot more messed up if you do that.
Yeah, for sure. This is one of those that I don't buy into. It's easy to, like I said, the JFK one, super easy to buy into. The moon one, the moon conspiracy that we didn't actually land on the moon the first time, and it was all footage shot at a sound studio. There's merit behind that. But this one, it's just someone just wanted to make some fun fan fiction, basically.
Yeah.
So definitely a fun one. One when we talk about conspiracy theories, this was the first one that popped in my head just because of how much I love it. But yeah, a silly one.
Yeah, like I said, next time I watch it, and next time you guys watch it, you should entertain the idea that this is correct, and just see what works and what doesn't, because yikes.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, so Corey, let's move on into yours. So you have an interesting one. Could H.H. Holmes actually be Jack the Ripper? So why don't you go on this one?
All right, so a little bit of history for you guys. H.H. Holmes is one of America's first serial killers. He created a hotel during the Chicago World's Fair, and this hotel was designed to murder in multiple different ways. If you've seen American Horror Story Hotel,
Yes.
that's what it's based off of. And then, who hasn't heard of Jack the Ripper? Terrorized London around the same time, killing prostitutes. And while there are a lot of theories about who Jack the Ripper is, because we've never figured out their identity, the idea that H.H. Holmes is Jack the Ripper has kind of stayed around. It's one of the lesser known ones. So with this, we have to kind of take into consideration the time period. So again, this is like late 1800s, early 1900s, like Victorian England times. And what makes this really compelling for me is that none of H.H. Holmes' crimes overlap with Jack the Ripper's. So every time that there was, a new victim of H.H. Holmes, it was when Holmes was in America and he was at his hotel. However, when Jack the Ripper would commit his crimes, it would always coincidentally be when H.H. Holmes was off visiting England. I actually wrote a paper, not like a paper, but like an opinion article for our class on this. I just pulled it up. Let's see. But yeah, there have been people who've been looking into it because, again, we're all still trying to figure out who Jack the Ripper was. There's the theory that it was actually a woman. But I actually really believe that there's enough evidence to kind of support the idea that H.H. Holmes is also Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, like there's things that add up to where like there's just too many coincidences that it's gone on in all these when people have looked more into it, and it's as someone who hasn't looked too much into either of those, like of H.H. Holmes or Jack the Ripper, like I say, yeah, obviously everyone knows who Jack the Ripper is. Like he's like one of the most well-known serial killers ever. But yeah, it's just hard to it's just hard to like. It's another one of those that if we found out in a couple years that it was 100% true, I would not be shocked.
So another thing, as I'm looking through this old article that I wrote, a supporter of this idea is actually H.H. Holmes' descendant, Jeff Mudgett. He said his theory on all this is based off the writings in the 2 diaries that he inherited from Holmes, where he describes participation in the murder and mutilation of multiple prostitutes while in London. So... if you guys are wanting more evidence, like, even his family thinks he did it.
Yikes. This is really interesting. I think, like, when you, like, if you are as well known of a, well, technically not known, but for lack of a better term, well known as Jack the Ripper is, you have to spend a lot of time planning and planning what you're going to do, who you're going to kill, where you're going to do it, how long it's going to take, all that. And I would imagine that, like, I mean, I'm not going to pretend to get inside the mind of a serial killer, but if you look at it from, like, I don't know, kind of like a hobby, I suppose you could say, to want to change locations and try a new environment is something that kind of makes a lot of sense. And especially being like going undercover and being a lot more secretive when you're outside the country makes a lot of sense too. So yeah, it kind of checks out with the timeline you laid out, that like wherever Jack the Ripper happened to be is where H.H. Holmes also was. Makes a lot of sense. So I could see it. I could definitely see it. Like, well, I don't know a lot about either of them, like Luke said, but I could believe that.
Well, you throw in too the fact that there was the whole thing with like the World Fair with H.H. Holmes. Like, it's a smart thing. If I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this around the World Fair time because, one, I'm away from America, so people won't expect, like, I can do some of the similar type of things of killings, people won't expect it. But also, there's people from all over the world that are coming to that. They're seeing, like, the best in everything at the World Fairs at these times. So you can, if you're smart, that you can kill Americans, British, other Europeans, anyone there from Asia. They're like, it's a smart move to go do that, and to do it as a hotel, like H.H. Holmes would have done. Like, that's such a smart idea as well, just as a hotel death trap. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is another one of those where it's like, I'm not as informed, but from the little bit that you've explained and the little bit I've read online, if this came out and it was true, I would 100% not be shocked.
Yeah.
So then, Johhny, that is your turn. So you are going to be talking about the Berkshire County UFO sightings of 1969. So why don't you talk to us about that and go over why you picked this one?
Yeah, so I first learned about this from Netflix. Go figure, knowing me.
I am shocked.
There's a show on Netflix called Unsolved Mysteries, and there was an episode about this, and it was about on September 1st, 1969, in Berkshire in Massachusetts. There were multiple sightings of different alien-like or UFO-like, I don't know,
Unexpected encounters.
encounters. There was one person that said that he was a boy at the time. He was running out of his house, and he was running, and a light came down on him, and then he was just running in place, and somebody, I think his mother, saw him from the yard, in the yard from the home, and saw he was just running in place as if he was being pulled, like, in place, and no matter how much he moved, he just couldn't actually, like, get anywhere. His whole body was moving, but he wasn't actually going anywhere. Another person said that they saw a large orb that was like glowing light, about 2 stories high, and saw it like zip around the sky and then zip away. Another person, a family, I believe it was a brother and a sister, and no, sorry, it was a son, a mom, and a grandmother. The mother and grandmother were in the front seat. The mother was driving. The son was in the back seat. The grandmother was in the passenger seat. And they experienced a large flat, like a bright light. And everything went, like, they passed out. And then the mother remembered waking up on a table, like, strapped down. And then didn't remember really anything after that. There was another light, and woke up. And the grandmother was in the driver's seat, the mother was in the passenger seat, and the son was still in the back. And the son said that all of them kind of agreed that it was strange because it was as if they tried to make it look, whatever creatures this was, tried to make it seem as if nothing had happened, but they messed up and switched the mother and the grandmother in the wrong seats because they weren't paying that much attention, and so they put them in the wrong seats. And they know that the grandmother would never be driving because they said that she was like too old to drive, she was too ill, she just could not drive, but she was in the driver's seat when they came back. And so that was another thing. Let's see, it was experiences from all over the city, that a lot of people that didn't really have much interaction with each other than just being from a small town. They might have seen each other's faces, but it was all on the same night. And because of just the time, some of them wanted to report it to the radio station just because they wanted to see if there was anybody else out there that knew about it. And they did, but the radio, at the time, they just copied over old recordings, and so there was no actual of the time. There's no recording of the recounting the events on the station, which would have been the only audio recording of it. And that's not necessarily, that itself is not necessarily anything to do with the aliens, but it is just kind of a unfortunate coincidence that the only audio like recounting the day of is impossible to find or recover.
Of course. Why wouldn't it be there?
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Yeah, exactly. They also looked back at the police reports, and none of them reported anything that happened. They looked back, and that day there was nothing that anybody decided to report. So it could have been because nothing happened, and then it's all made up, and they're just saying after the fact that pretending that something happened, or it could have been that there was some part of their mind that was implanted a lack of responsibility to report it, or they were just too scared because of what they actually saw. Anything is a viable option, but what do you guys think of this?
Aliens.
Okay, well, this is 2020, so everything crazy has happened this year, and the government did release that like they've like encountered like UFOs and aliens like at Area 51. Like they've announced that they released footage, so I am not at all surprised that there are people who claim to have alien encounters way before this. I don't think it's a coincidence that that audio got, recorded over or deleted or whatever. I think the government just took it because they're like, oh, we don't want like widespread panic. And now that it's 2020 and everyone's panicking, they're like, we'll sprinkle this in there for them. But I think it's totally plausible. Probably happened.
I didn't really consider that the government was involved, but yeah, I guess it wouldn't be too difficult to, after all the panic was spread, if it got to, anybody in the U.S. government, they came to that radio station, demanded to take the audio of the lady that reported it, and never claimed to never brought it back, never let it go, never did anything with it except hide it, or erase it themselves. But yeah, it's this. I 100% believe that this happened. I think some of it might be a little I think some of the stuff with the table and the lady being strapped onto the table, I think that might be
things have been sensationalized obviously over time.
Yeah,
yes.
But I think for the most part, I believe that something happened that night that was not of this world.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's just like you said. Like there's such a plausible chance that there are aliens out there. Like people who don't think there isn't all. It's just with how big the universe is, with all these other random unexplainable occurrences that happen over time. There almost has to be. And a good thing I think we can go to this with is the movie Independence Day. Think about how they talk about, how the president didn't know about the clearance of the aliens. I feel like there's stuff. There's someone in this government that knows more about aliens. And they're sworn to secrecy, and they have all these NDAs they've signed, and only a select few know. But there are 100% is some sort of alien technology that this government has tucked away somewhere, whether it's Area 51 or some other place. But it's alien aliens exist. It's hard to not think that they do. This is another one of those two. Yeah, just like the Jack the Ripper thing. If we found out in a couple years, or whatever, that this was aliens for sure, they confirmed it, no one's gonna. I don't think that a lot of people are gonna be that surprised. I'm not gonna be.
Yeah, I think the scariest thing is not necessarily do they exist or do they not exist, but it's more that they have the capacity to do what they supposedly did, and they haven't been back. And so,
well, Johnny, remember the government's run by alien reptilioids, so it's the lizard people hiding it.
True, but what scares me is that assuming that they're from a different planet or a different world or whatever, they could be back at any point, and they could just be plotting to take over our planet. I'm not trying to start a conspiracy theory on top of another conspiracy theory, but I think that if they're capable of doing and having the machinery that they apparently had in 1969, what else are they capable of? What else could they do?
Another one, just going back, Independence Day is another easy one where it's that movie obviously is fiction, is a sci-fi, but it would not be surprised if we wake up someday and all of a sudden we see these big ships from aliens that are coming down, and they're wanting to do whatever. Like, it's
what if Earth is like a vacation spot for aliens and they just aren't coming because COVID?
Oh, true.
They were planning on coming this year.
Yeah, true. This was fine with the company. Yeah, it did. I don't know. Like, we've seen it so much in fiction. We explained, and I would not be surprised. Like I said, if we do end up, hopefully we can be prepared for it, so it isn't fully like Independence Day, where like we lose, because I would probably be dead being in Atlanta, being in a big city like Atlanta. But hopefully we can do that, and hopefully it doesn't end up like Independence Day 2, which is not a good movie.
Aliens, if you're out there listening, please don't kill Luke, because we want to keep this podcast going.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, definitely, the alien theory is such an easy theory to believe too, because there's just so much that makes it plausible. Like it's
like, do you think that if I came to you and I told you that I experienced a UFO, like, do you think you'd believe me, or do you think you would kind of write it off?
I mean, I don't know, because it's you, but
fair. But I mean, like, if I wasn't messing around and I was like trying to, I don't know if, like, it's hard to say if like you'd really want to consider checking somebody into a hospital, or if you like actually want to entertain the idea that what they're saying is true. Because on TV, on a Netflix show, I believe everything that they're saying. But if one of them came up to me personally and was like, "This happened to me," I'd be like, "You are nuts."
Well, yeah. Johhny, lucky for you, we already think you're nuts. So I'd be more inclined to entertain your idea.
True.
Well, I figured that it'd be the opposite, because I'm already crazy. You just disregard. He's like, "Oh, that's just Johhny. He just says and does crazy things. No one has to take it."
Just give him some blocks. He'll go entertain himself.
Exactly.
So just remember, though, if aliens do come, just find out where Jeff Goldblum is, though. Just find where he is, and then have him help to take this out, because he fought the aliens. Get him and Bill Pullman, and then we'll all be good.
I'm calling Will Smith.
That too, yeah. Hopefully he doesn't, if aliens come back, he doesn't decide to peace out then, like he did in Independence Day 2 as well. So, all right, nice. So that was a fun one. There's some. So obviously mine is the least believable conspiracy theory, because it's about a cartoon and like clearly fiction for a fictional show. But these are some fun ones. I definitely like, especially because the two you brought to the table are two very believable ones as well, which is good, because there's conspiracy theories out there like that that like all these politicians were running a secret underground pedophile ring in a pizza joint. It's just like that's just too far out there to be true. Like that's so crazy on so many levels that like that's so not believable. Where like,
I think it'd be more believable that aliens are doing that than it would be that politicians are doing
exactly. That. Or going back to the reptilian thing, that like our government's ran by alien lizard people. Like, I mean, I guess that
metaphorically, yes, but not literally.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. But now we can move on into recommendations. So, Johhny, you did a recommendation of Parasite, which made a lot of attention with its Academy Award this past year. So why don't you first talk about why you picked Parasite?
Well, it was the last movie I saw before the pandemic destroyed the world. And I miss movie theaters a lot. But no, I loved it. I thought that it was... one thing that I love about movies made outside of America is that there's so... I mean, after seeing literally hundreds of Hollywood movies, you know how things are going to go. Things are filmed the exact same way. Only some directors in Hollywood actually choose to like make things unique, go in a certain artistic direction. But this film, the South Korean film, it is so, oh God, it's great it's a great movie in general. But I think what I loved the most is that it was a breath of fresh air of a movie, like in every single way. The story, the direction, the acting, the writing, everything was great because it was new, because it was stylized and shown in a way that was different than Hollywood. And if you understand what I'm saying, then you get it. But if you don't, it's kind of hard to explain it in words what I mean. But yeah, it just, everything about it was new and a breath of fresh air. But outside of that, it was just a great film. It was very suspenseful, which I think is like one of the best genres you can get into, because horror films are never too scary. Action films are pretty basic. Rom-coms can be rom-coms.
Predictable. Yeah,
so
there's so much, yeah.
But suspense films, it's like you, as long as you're on the edge of your seat the entire time, or like for the majority of the suspense, then it's doing its job. You don't know what's going to happen next. You're not necessarily worried about ghosts or vampires or zombies, but this is a suspense film, so it's, you know, it's you're nervous about what's to come. And the feeling that I had when I was watching it was something I have not experienced in a long time with movies.
Yeah,
so,
the closest example I really feel like that this has, they're different styles of movies, but another movie that I had watched it where it had me as anxious as this was Dunkirk. Because like Dunkirk is like a 2-hour panic attack basically, because you just feel like you're like about like, it is very uneasy with everything, with how it's shot and edited and all that. And I think what makes Parasite so good too is just how like realistic it is, type of thing. Just be like the whole idea of like the wealth gap and the issues that stem from that is such a like relevant thing that isn't really like that. Like, I mean, it's not thought of, but it's something that I don't think people always, you know, think about. Like there's a huge issue that comes with that, and like, you know, that playing off of that is such a huge thing as well. And yeah, and it being a movie from a different country, and like one that it's not from the carbon copy of what we see with Hollywood, I think helped it really stand apart, which is, you know, why it was the first non-English movie to win best screenplay in, you know, almost 20 years, and all the accolades it got for a foreign film, as much as people didn't like it like because of that, but it's such a crazy thing, like how you know, how like some of the, you know, like there's, it's sensationalized things because movie, but like it's one of those that, you know, like things like this happen.
Yeah. And it's just so beautifully well done. And like, I understand why people don't like watching things with like subtitles. Like, I understand, because I'm kind of the same way. But at the same time, there's just something so beautiful about a well done movie from a completely different perspective than what you're used to. Because again, Hollywood has kind of a standardized, like, all right, like, you're doing a horror movie, you're gonna use like these 5 things, you're gonna do an action movie, you're gonna do this. Whereas after taking ethno-film studies in college,
what a great class.
You kind of learn to appreciate like all these differences and kind of get an idea of how other countries view certain things, especially with suspense. Suspense is a good one to kind of bridge that gap, because like with horror movies, you kind of have an idea again like what the antagonist is. So, oh, it's a ghost, it's not gonna like iron, it's not gonna like salt. You kind of have an idea of like what they're gonna do. With suspense, you don't have that luxury. You're just constantly like clenching it and hoping for the best.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Ethno film study was a great class too. Like, I'm just thinking about like just how movies from different, like, there was the 2 movies that took place in the Middle East, if he still shows the same order he did when I took that class, where you have your action-y, oh, America saving the day movie, and then you have the one with the little girl and like the issues of just growing up, and she just wants a bike type of thing, and like just the way the different things those are portrayed. Or like another example with stuff is, think about how like Japan, the whole idea of like Godzilla in Japan stemmed from like fallout from being nuked in World War II. And like just how different we've taken those things here, how different they've taken things out of there, and yeah, and getting this fresh air is such a good thing. So
I think
go ahead,
one of the greatest things about this that I really appreciated after the fact, after like loving the movie and researching it and seeing, you know, all the little things that I might have missed, is the way they portrayed class diversion, whereas like they would always show the poorer people going down the stairs, and they would show the richer people walking up the stairs, or like they would have a shot of like the main stairwell and have like the oh god, I can't remember the characters' names. I didn't watch this with you guys. I saw it 8 months ago, but yeah, they would have the shot of the family that they were staying at, walking up the stairs while they're still on that level. And there was a lot of like oh god, I need to use actual names. The Kim family, the poorer family, they live in that semi-basement apartment because they're underground, they're lesser than. Whereas the was it the Parks? Or the Parks. They're the more wealthy family, and so they have all these floors, and so there's a lot of like shots of them walking upstairs, whereas there's a lot of shots of the Kims walking downstairs, and it really goes to show. I mean, it's definitely a bigger case in South Korea, not bigger compared to America, but it was more about South Korea than it was about America because it's a South Korean film, but. I mean, that's something that we experience no matter where it is in the world, is the diversion of financial classes, and I think that like this was a really good, it was like a subtle way of like showing just the differences between any two families.
Yeah, for sure. How many years before you think we get a American remake of this film?
I think they're already planning on it.
So I know they're doing a spin-off TV show where the director and Adam McKay are going to be executive producers, and it's going to explore stories that happen in between the sequences of the film, so kind of expanding on it. But as far as I know, there's not plans for an actual American remake. But I would not be surprised if we do see one. So then the anti-subtitle crowd can see it, but. Yeah, I mean,
I think 5 years from now we'll have a Americanized version of it for sure.
Probably, hopefully,
just like Train to Busan. I bet they're going to make a Americanized Train to Seattle or something like that. Version of Train to Busan.
Well, that requires us to actually have a competent train system in this country for travel.
Yeah. True, but still, plane to I don't know. It doesn't
drive to Seattle. Yeah,
caravan.
All right, so typically we do give ratings out of 10. We try to give some fun stuff like by incorporating something from the films into as well, Corey. But on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give Johnny's recommendation of Parasite?
I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 Scholar Rocks.
Nice. So I will... making fun of this other people, I will give it an 8.5 out of 10. I'm not watching this with all the subtitles out of 10, just to make fun of all the people. Yeah, definitely a good one. And like I said, I think what makes this such a good one as well is just like the idea of like exploring the wealth diversion and all the stuff like that we can get is such a like thing right now, as more and more people have more and more money compared to less. Like the top 1% have so much money of the world and just all that stuff like that. So definitely it's a good one. And just all the other stuff that's happened with this, like how the film was edited in like software that we can go out and buy ourselves in Final Cut Pro. Like it was a lot of things that is very much of an independent type of film. Like it wasn't done with this big budget and these thousands and thousands of graphic artists and all that. It was like a lower budget movie. Its budget was only about $11 million US. So like 11 million is still a lot of money, but compared to other films, like that's nothing compared to what we had. So I'm gonna go pull up. Let's just do. Hold on. So 1917, another movie that was up for Best Picture, 90 to 100 million budget. So like that's 10 times the budget almost. What are you gonna say though, Johnny?
I want to say that on the topic of financial diversion, the top, you guys might have known this already, but I was curious about the top 26 richest people in the world. have half of the world's wealth.
Yep.
Yep.
The top 26 people. That
There's
is insane.
There was that one thing that came out that Jeff Bezos could have given every Amazon employee like $100 and something $1,000 bonus, and he would have as much money as he had before the pandemic really started. Like he could give away billions of dollars and still have the amount of money he had 7 months ago.
Jesus.
Wow.
It's the amount of money that some of these people have is just insane. So I mean that's a debate for a whole other day, but that's the thing that a movie like this does want to get you to think about too, and especially because we see it more glamorized in other films as well, and so there's a lot of stuff like that. So now we can move on then to Corie's turn. So since she is our fill-in guest for the next couple weeks, we thought we'd give her own recommendation as well. So Corie, what do you have for us this time? I know last time you had us listen to when you were on a few months ago the musical. I'm forgetting the name of the musical right now.
The musical.
Six. Yes, right. Yes, for Henry VIII, which I talked about with. That next week after you're gone, that is a king that I have a lot of just funny memes associated with, because when I was in high school, I mentioned this last time too, there was my world history teacher found this video that talked about all the wives, and it was to the tune of Money, Money, Money by ABBA. And so you have that, which is just funny. And then there's a Twitter account that every day tells you how old King Henry would be if he was still alive. And so it's at How Old Is Henry. I retweet it every once in a while. So like yesterday, if he would have been alive today on October 24th, King Henry VIII would have been 529 years, 4 months, and 26 days old.
Good for him.
So
Bully for him. Kind of staying in the vein of England, I actually took a lot of inspiration from this week's topic, conspiracy theories, and going back to my roots, we're gonna do some anime stuff this week.
Oh no.
I am
does
shocked.
not trust me. Johnny does not trust me, and he has good reason. But I'm gonna have you guys watch Black Butler. So a little bit about this. This is what I like to call a 2008 anime. So this is back when everyone was on Tumblr. It was very toxic. It was just great. But Black Butler.
You're not selling it for me.
Hold on. It takes place in Victorian England, and it follows the life of CL Phantom Hive, like a 9-10-year-old boy whose family died in a fire, and it's always a fire. And he decides to take revenge on the people he believes responsible for the death of his parents, and for some very traumatic stuff that he went through. So he makes a contract with a demon named Sebastian, who works as his butler. So it's the two of them plus the Phantom Hive staff going around England acting as Queen Victoria's watchdog, as he's called, and looking for the people CL believes is responsible for the death of his family.
Okay.
Right.
What?
Just the first one or two episodes?
I think I'll have you guys watch the first 2 episodes. It's a fairly short anime. Seasons 2 and 3 did just get put on Netflix, which is where you can find this. You can also watch it on Funimation.
Netflix and Funimation. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
I don't have Funimation, so.
And for those of you who are fans of My Hero Academia, you might recognize the voice of Sebastian as J. Michael Tatum, the voice of Tenya Ida.
Those just went over my head, but okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm not much of an anime person myself. I'm
not usually.
The best anime obviously is Corie in the House.
Obviously.
But
starring Corie.
Of actual animes I've watched, I watched the original anime, of course, of Speed Racer. I do own all 52 episodes of Speed Racer on DVD. And
I love Sonic X.
Oh yeah, I can't forget Sonic X too. Yeah, those are the 2 animes that I have watched all the way through. I love both dearly, even though both have a lot of problems. I mean, Speed Racer is pretty rough, but it's all good. So
well,
cool.
Johnny, you'll be glad to know no rose petals this time.
Oh, thank God.
Alrighty, so that will then move us on into our quick talk about sponsorship and wrapping up the episode. So this podcast is sponsored by Anchor, which is the easiest way to make a podcast. Visit anchor.fm to start your own. That's what we use for us. That's why if you listen to this podcast on Spotify or Apple Music or anything that's not YouTube, you always have me with my little intro telling you to use Anchor. So use Anchor. And so this podcast is also sponsored by ByLightFixtures.com. Visit ByLight Fixtures for a trusted source of quality lighting products for your business or home. Before we go to Corey, why don't you let the listeners know where they can find you on social media? You do work with Nerdmageddon on the radio back in Northwest and stuff like that, so where they can find that. So
Yes.
Where can people find you at?
So if you want to see my work with Nerdmageddon, you can find this on Facebook. That's Nerdmageddon. I don't know how to spell it off the top of my head. We're also on Twitter.
Me too.
Yes,
Johnny,
if
spell
you'd
it.
like to spell.
Nerd like nerd, and then Mageddon.
Yes. So you can find us on Twitter and on Facebook using that. And then if you want to follow me personally, I am on TikTok. That is Miss_Kitten97. Law Florida Man content there for you folks.
Florida Man, yes.
And then you can also find me on Instagram at CorieBug. And my Twitter is also MissKitten97.
Perfect. So definitely be giving Corey some follows, some likes, and check out Nerdmageddon. That's where Johhny and Connor got a lot of their start with some of this sim stuff. There's a lot of things that we have taken inspiration from that show as well. And so definitely something you can check out there. And Corey definitely is your person to go through for puns as well. That is, we didn't really have any in this one, but I'm sure she was thinking of a bunch of them during all this. But awesome. So be sure to give Corey a follow and keep up to date with all of her stuff. Maybe she can give you some more recommendations on anime, since that's not really mine and Johnny's cup of teas as much. And be sure to check us out on our social medias as well. We do with our Twitter and our Facebook and Twitch. I did stream a little bit of the Haunting at Verdansk, the Call of Duty Warzone Halloween event recently, and I'll be doing some more of that again these next few days as well. So be sure to check out that if you want to see the jump scares when I open crates and me playing as a zombie. Don't forget to also be on the lookout for Connor's new show. I did mention at the beginning, since he isn't here, that it will be delayed a little bit once he gets back on the swing of things with all the Rocket Bomb content of Rocket Talk and moving in stereo. You can expect more of that. And guys, as of recording today, it is 2 months till Christmas.
Woot!
Yay!
But actually, it's only 6 days away from Christmas, but 7 days away. But
2 months away from Christmas Day, and
Christmas,
then
big
less
Christmas.
less than a week until we can listen to Christmas music.
Exactly.
So
You guys can listen to Christmas music. I'm normal.
About a month ago, I was in the car with Corey and forcing her to listen to Christmas music. Anyway, so
You can find that video on my TikTok.
there you
that's
go.
true.
I did. I typically wait till more around Thanksgiving to do it. But I do also have a habit of every July, I do have a day or two where I'll listen to a few of my Christmas albums for a little Christmas in July action. But yes, definitely on the lookout for more of the fun Halloween stuff. And then, we'll also have some more fun holiday stuff as we get closer to the end of the year. And also that means that PlayStation 5 is almost here. So thanks again, Corey, for joining us on this week's episode. It was good to have you on and good to talk about these fun conspiracy theories. Be sure to follow her on social media. Be sure to follow us. And that'll wrap up episode 36.